Police in the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia have fired tear gas to disperse hundreds of migrants and refugees at the Greek border. It happened as frustrations boiled over at restrictions imposed on people moving through the Balkans. An estimated 8,000 people, said to be mostly Syrians and Iraqis, have now gathered at the frontier at Idomeni. A crush developed following reports that the border had been opened after several hours where it had remained shut. Countries along the Balkan route, including Macedonia, have beefed up controls, reducing the number of people allowed entry each day. At least 22,000 refugees and migrants trying to reach Central and Northern Europe have been stranded in Greece over the past week. The German Chancellor Angela Merkel has said Europe can't allow Greece to fall into chaos a year after fighting to keep the country in the Eurozone. Greece has warned the number of people stuck on its territory could triple in March to 70,000. French police have moved into the so-called jungle in Calais to begin dismantling part of the migrant camp. At the weekend, the authorities toured the area, urging residents to leave, following a court decision on Thursday approving a government plan to clear the southern part of the shantytown. The French authorities, which have vowed to carry out the order humanely, have said some 500 extra places will be made available in reception centres for those displaced. Thousands of migrants and refugees, many fleeing war and poverty, have converged on the northern French port trying to reach Britain. The court order follows concern over the camp's squalid conditions and security. Migrants have clashed with police and tried to board lorries approaching the port. But many are reluctant to leave, afraid that they'll be detained or documented.
Amid Syria's shaky ceasefire, claims of breaches. Barrel bombs are said to have been dropped on Homs province, one video alleging the Syrian regime has violated the truce. And it's claimed a Russian warplane has hit a town in Idlib province. Airstrikes were also reported to have targeted rebel-held areas in Aleppo and Hama on Sunday. Warplanes hit 6 towns in the northern Aleppo province, according to monitors. Insurgents claim they were Russian jets, but others say their identity is unclear. Syria's state media didn't report the strikes, and Russia's defense ministry didn't comment. It's hoped the fragile ceasefire will help get aid to besieged areas. A UN official has said the supplies should be delivered this week to more than 150,000 people in need. The truce is part of a US and Russian plan. It doesn't cover assaults on ISIL and Nusra Front militants, and it seems its overall effectiveness is now in doubt.
It's being described as a blow to Iran's conservative Islamic establishment. Final results after elections on Friday show that allies of the reformist president Hassan Rouhani have made big gains. The Rouhani allies have won all of the 30 parliamentary seats up for grabs in the capital. They've also won 15 out of the 16 Tehran seats in the so-called Assembly of Experts, ousting 2 prominent conservatives, including the Speaker. The Assembly will have the job of choosing the country's next supreme leader. Commentators say the results could mean Iran will further its new ties with the West. However, despite the gains by Rouhani and his allies, the Conservatives remain in power overall in the country.
An American student detained in North Korea since early January and accused of carrying out a hostile act against the state has been paraded before the media. 21-year-old Otto Warmbier from the University of Virginia read out a purported confession saying he'd stolen a propaganda slogan from his hotel in Pyongyang.
I understand the severity of my crime, and I have no idea what sort of penalty I may face. But I am begging to the Korean people and government for my forgiveness, and I am praying to the heavens so that I may be returned home to my family.
The student said he'd been offered a prize of a second-hand car if he could bring back a trophy to present to an American church. North Korea has a history of detaining foreigners who then confess to alleged crimes against the state.
I have made the worst mistake of my life.